3 weeks since Aldous Whitmore walked out of his office on a Tuesday and didn't come back. 22 days since anyone last saw him alive. I'd been counting. The morning edition of the Bay City Gazette. Page 3, column 4. Body recovered from the city inlet. South side. City official. Aldous Whitmore, 47. Apparent drowning. Police satisfied the death was accidental. I was not satisfied. Rosie.
Frank, bad morning. Eddie's still under at St. Mary's. The doctor says another 24 hours before they'll know anything.
Did you see the Gazette this morning?
Page 3, Whitmore. I saw it.
Police called it an accident.
And you're calling it something else.
I'm calling it a message. Be careful who you talk to today, Rosie.
You too, Frank.
Vera.
I read the Gazette on the way over.
Then we don't have to have the conversation about what Whitmore not answering his phone for 3 weeks means.
He's been dead since the week Eddie was beaten. Same time frame, same hand.
They're moving fast now.
They're scared.
Scared men are the most dangerous kind.
We should go to the police.
With what? A name on page 3 that they have already signed off on, and a beaten man in a hospital bed. The police here are either honest and outgunned, or they know exactly what happened to Whitmore. I won't find out which until I know more.
And Bryce?
Bryce has been afraid of his own shadow since the beginning. If Whitmore turning up in the inlet doesn't loosen his tongue, nothing will. I'd been at my desk for an hour when the phone rang. The voice on the other end was barely above a whisper. Malone.
Mr. Malone, Ashby, I have perhaps 30 seconds.
Counselor, your office line's been dead for a week.
This is a different line. I heard about Whitmore this morning. So did the people who made sure I kept quiet.
Then you know what it means.
Write this down. Victor Cray, Bay City Development Corporation. He's the reason Whitmore is in the morgue. He's the reason. That's everything I can give you. Don't contact my office again.
Victor Cray.
I've never heard that name. Not from Thomas. Not from anyone in the reform group.
Which means they kept him off every list on purpose.
Or Thomas knew him and kept him off mine.
Either way, he's the man Ashby was frightened enough to whisper. Bay City Development Corporation. I made 3 calls. Nobody had heard of Victor Cray, or they had and weren't saying. That told me what I needed to know. Captain Bryce. I'd spoken to him once, back at the start. Pier permits, a man in a photograph. He'd given me very little. I was hoping his memory had improved in the months since. Captain Bryce.
Malone, you've got nerve coming here.
I've got a name, Victor Cray.
Close the door.
You know him.
Where did you get that name?
Doesn't matter where. What matters is that Aldous Whitmore is in the city morgue and your peer contracts go back 2 years.
Don't you threaten me in my own building.
I'm not threatening you, Captain. I'm trying to understand what happened to Thomas Delacroix, and I think you know more than you've told me.
I have a family, Malone.
So did Thomas.
Harwell started with the contracts. Small things. A blind eye on an inspection, a signature on a permit that should have gone to review. Then Victor Cray appeared. He was always very polite about it, but it wasn't a request anymore. Whitmore ran the pier operations. Made sure the right people didn't look too closely at the south end on the nights that mattered. I don't know what went through there. I didn't want to know.
Did Whitmore know Thomas Delacroix?
Whitmore mentioned a photographer, said it had been handled. I didn't ask what that meant.
It meant Thomas Delacroix was handled too.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you did.
2 months ago, Whitmore started asking me about immunity, whether there were people you could approach without it coming back on you. I told him to stop asking questions like that. He didn't stop.
And now he's in the inlet.
Yes.
What does Cray look like?
45, 50, always in a suit that fits, never raises his voice. That's how you know he doesn't have to. He walks like he's already decided how everything ends.
Thank you, Captain.
Don't thank me. If they find out I talked to you, I'm next. Don't come back to this building.
I was on the front steps of the Harbour Commission building when I heard footsteps on the stone behind me, measured, unhurried, the kind of footsteps that don't hurry because they don't need to.
Mr. Malone.
You have me at a disadvantage.
Victor Cray, I understand you've been asking about certain city business. I'd recommend directing your attention elsewhere, for your own sake.
Is that advice or a warning?
It's simply an observation. Good afternoon.
He tipped his hat, walked down the steps without looking back. Not a threat, a statement of fact from a man who had never needed to make threats. I laid it out for Vera, every piece. She listened without interrupting, which meant she was already seeing it the same way.
Harwell at the top. Cray is his architect, runs the operation, handles the problems, keeps his own hands clean. Whitmore was the ground man, managed the pier, dealt with the details.
And when Whitmore developed a conscience, Cray handled the problem.
Thomas photographed a pier handoff that tied all of them together. That's why the reform group placed him there. They had pieces, but not the direct chain. Thomas was the only person positioned to document it.
6 months of work, placed deliberately, and look where it got him.
He chose to be there, Frank. Nobody placed him. He placed himself.
I know that.
Then you know it also means he walked back in after he'd already built the record. Not because he had to, because he hadn't finished.
What didn't he finish?
I don't know, but whatever it was, he decided it was worth the risk. You can disagree with that. I'm not sure I don't.
It doesn't matter now whether I agree with it.
If he was as meticulous as I know he was, he didn't put everything in one place.
The reform group had a partial dossier. We pulled some of it from the Union Station locker.
Thomas would have made copies, sent them somewhere safe before he went back. He was careful like that.
If he did, we haven't found them.
Or they haven't found us yet.
There's a pile of post on that desk I haven't opened in 4 days.
Then open it.
I didn't look at the post until 11 that night. A week's worth of correspondence, bills, a circular from a city committee, 3 letters I'd been meaning to get to, and a manila envelope at the bottom of the pile. The postmark was 6 weeks old. It had gone through the dead letter office, forwarded twice. My name on the front in handwriting I didn't recognize. Inside, 17 pages, financial records, pier contract invoices, Harwell's name, and 3 signatures on documents that put him at every transaction we'd been trying to prove. Photographs, timestamps, everything a grand jury would need. And a cover note, 6 words. In case I don't make it. Thomas Delacroix had known exactly what he was walking into. He'd built the case, mailed the evidence, and gone back to do it anyway. 6 weeks these pages had been sitting in the dead letter office, forwarded twice while I was running around Bay City asking questions Thomas Delacroix had already answered. He'd built it right, Every signature, every invoice, every photograph. A grand jury could follow this without stopping. He knew that when he mailed it. Whatever he went back for after that, I don't know what it was. I don't know if he got it. But he went back knowing the case would survive without him if it had to. I sat with that for a long time. The glass of whiskey I hadn't touched. The rain on the window. 17 pages of evidence that had been waiting 6 weeks for someone to find them. The Midnight Files will continue next week. Same time, same station. Bay City, 1947. The things men bury always come up eventually. In this city, they come up in the rain.